What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. The book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father, Amazon Kindle Create Space. Link will be in the description box below. Um, this video is going to be kind of different from the other one. Controlling anger. You know, anger is a natural emotion, just like, joy, pain, happiness, whatever. It's a necessary emotion. But there is a point where you do have to control it because it may be is closely related to rage. So you have to control your anger so it doesn't turn into rage. Because anger could get you in trouble, but rage can can ruin your life. So some of the things that you can do to control your anger is to channel it into another avenue. Maybe you can be more creative. You can channel that anger into creativity. You know, that way the energy is productively used. No matter what you do, maybe you're a painter, maybe you're some type of artist, maybe you're a writer, maybe you're a singer, a songwriter, something, just those feelings that you have, you can push them into a different direction. So that's a way of controlling your anger. Another way is to work out. You know, sometimes it's not enough to do something that lacks physicality. You might need to do something physical. You might have to lift some weights. You might have to um, play a sport. You might have to, you know, get into a combat sport so you can learn, the proper ways to um, actually combat somebody, which and sometimes helps you lower getting angry and control your anger because you look at people differently when you know you can hurt them, even in a good mood, you know, when you know what you're doing. So sometimes when you channel that energy into, working out, it, it curves things, you know. Um, Another way to control your anger is by the music you listen to. Sometimes if you're in a bad mood, you shouldn't listen to music that puts you in a worse mood. Listen to something that'll uplift your spirits and make you happier. So, because if you're angry and you listen to angry music, it's just gonna convince you to do something angry, which you may not have to do at that particular point. So that's a way of controlling your anger. Same thing about the music you listen to. Um, it also applies to what you watch. Don't watch if you're angry. Don't watch no action-packed movie that makes you run around and want to go all Bruce Willis and die hard on the world. Like it's probably not a good idea. I mean, if you can um, live in that fantasy world while you're watching something and that and that's your way of channeling your anger out, you could watch everything down on the screen and be like, I'm good now. I saw some destruction and it helped me release all of my anger. That's one thing. But it's another thing if you're like, oh man, I'm gonna go get my gun and just shoot up the whole block. Then you shouldn't be watching that type of stuff. It's just not a good idea. Uh, Another way to actually control your anger is to stay away from um, substances, whether it be um, alcohol, cigarettes, cigars, weed, other drugs. Stay away from that stuff and do and meditate because all of those substances are only going to do is they're going to make you probably harbor worse feelings because you're intoxicated or you're under the influence and make you either depressed or more angry or ready to lash out and you're not necessarily in your right state of mind, so you shouldn't do it. You know, I think even alcohol and cigars and cigarettes and I think all substances should be celebratory and not as a coping mechanism. That's just my opinion. But like I was saying, meditate. You know, cut everything off, sit down, get centered, meditate. It's a way of easing the tension. You know, bringing more tranquility and peace to your life. And that tranquility and that peace will actually dissipate the anger. And if you meditate, and it may become your routine, and it may be a way to decompress from daily frustrations of life, whether they be big or small. Because if you put it into your daily repertoire, you've never seen anything bad come out of that. But it is a way to control your anger. Another thing is, you know, it might sound weird, but your diet. You don't need to. You need to eat things that are healthy and good for you because the last thing you need to do is be angry, stressed out, and raged and eating bad foods, and then your body's gonna be reacting differently, and then you're gonna feel worse. And if you eat out of anger, and it might make you depressed or more angry because you don't like how you look because you're eating as a coping mechanism. So you're eating bad things as a coping mechanism because you're angry. So you should watch what you eat. Like watch your diet, watch the foods you consume, and make sure they're healthy, especially when you're upset. You know, no comfort food, things that'll make you live. Live properly. Um, I think one of the major issues about and find some hobbies, some outlets that are outside of your norm that challenge you, because if you do something that's brand new to you, there's going to be a certain frustration in trying to master it, and that helps you get the anger out. Like, you know, don't do something that you don't know how to do. Try something that you haven't tried before. Excuse me. Try something that you haven't tried before, because in that it keeps you active, it keeps your mind sharp, Sometimes in along with keeping your mind sharp, play some chess, you know. Even if you have nobody to play with, play against yourself. You'll be surprised that it occupies your time and your mind space to strategize, you know. And sometimes that that space of strategizing dissipates the anger because it's going into it creates a strategy for you to think, and eventually you're going to be thinking these problems away that anger you. Um, how? The other thing, a way to control your anger is to control your circle, control your friendships, control your companionships, control your relationships. Because if you're around happy people, then ultimately they're gonna make you laugh more than they piss you off. So even when you're angry, you might be able to go around other people that can cheer you up on a rough day, or can add a little humor to the situation. So it won't sting so bad, you know. And finally, last but not least, a way to control anger is through your own sense of humor. Like sometimes you got to be able to take things with a grain of salt, or look for the rainbow or the silver lining, or just the funny part of it, because laughing really helps. No matter how good or how bad a situation is, laughing is always going to make it better. And if you have a sense of humor, you'll be less prone to get angry, because you can be able to be lighthearted enough to not let the seriousness of whatever event it is consume you, because you can see the funny, the hilarity in it. So when it comes to this topic, yeah, I'm out. That's it.